Good afternoon, everybody. DJ Styles here on this Sunday afternoon. Don't mind me while I trip all over the place. Okay, I promised I'd do a quick tutorial on texturing and how to smooth things out. Okay, this is going to be really fast. I'm sorry I don't have any other material to do right now for this Sunday. I've been really busy with a lot of other things, but I promised I would do this. Somebody asked about the texturing. How do I get it this smooth? Okay, first of all, naphtha. That is the secret right here. Naphtha is what smooths it out. But first, before you get to this point, you have to really make sure, and I for some reason, I really love this particular tool. For me, it's comfortable from when I'm smoothing. The key is really getting all the little lines from the scraping. When you create a scrape, you're going to create a little bit of a line. So you got to crisscross in every direction to really get those lines out. All right. You know, it's just boom, 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 boom. You're all over the place, swirling it. You're just really trying to get all those little imperfection. Well, definitely carving lines. You don't want to see those. I don't see any on here. Yeah, I do. Okay. You see these little carving lines here? As a matter of fact, that's a good place to start from. So we're going to get them out and just kind of work them out. You know, you go against them, you go with them, you kind of just really try to get them out of there. And you do it lightly. I mean, I'm not putting very much pressure on this at all. You can see just by the little tiny bit of crumb of clay that came off of this. And I'll do the texturing part right here too, because I'm not ready for texturing on this. That happens later when I'm finally finished the final sculpture. See, I can see the little lines and see how they kind of disappeared. They're not all gone. They're not perfect. You don't really need perfect, because when it's really the very outer layer, this is what naphtha does. And naphtha, all right, first of all, I never touch naphtha at all. I don't touch it. You know, okay, I'm going to be doom and gloom a little bit, but this stuff can actually cause cancer. You don't want to get it in your bloodstream. You got to cut in your fingers. I have a bad habit of biting fingernails because of my nerves. I definitely don't want any naphtha getting into my cubicles or anything like that. So, with that being said, I use a little paintbrush. Now, see, this is a little hard because, like an idiot, I didn't rinse my brush out. So I'm putting it inside the can of naphtha. I'm just putting it right inside of here. Make sure you just see that. I'm putting it in there and I'm sloshing it around. The naphtha will dissolve this completely, liquefy it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to soften the very outer edge of the sculpture. And as you can see, as I do this, you know, it really softens it up. Now you can start seeing little streaks. I don't know how good the camera's picking that up, because it is really smooth, and I kind of go on every direction with it. All right, but once I get that outer surface really smooth, and this is important, I use a texturing sponge. I got all kinds of different ones, but I use this one here the most when it comes to this particular mask. And this needs to be cleaned. And the way you clean this is you get a little jar of naphtha and put it in a jar and then slosh that sponge around inside the naphtha. Wow, this really needs to be cleaned. I'm going to have to change. Let me see if I have a cleaner one. Yeah, I got an area. Okay, see the holes? See how fine that is? And I'm going to have to soften that up just a little bit more with a little bit more naphtha, and then I'm going to dab the texture right onto the surface of this. All right, I'm sloshing this brush around in the naphtha again. And I'm going to rub it in here again. All right, so I usually like dab it twice. I got talking to you, so it'll dry up again on you. You don't want that when you're trying to add texture. Now I'm going to take the cleanest spot I have on here, and I kind of bunch it up this way I can, and I just dab. And you'll see, hopefully the camera's picking it up. You see that little texture that's on there. See those little bumps, and that's the texture. That's what you're after. That's what you want. And the reason why you want this is because this gives your paint something to grab to. When you put the main coat of paint on here, your paint adheres to the surface. Now, I'm not talking about the clay. I'm talking about after I make the mold. The mold will even pick this up. That's how good that. I use Ultra Cal 30 for my stone when I make my mold, and it really picks up every little detail. And when you have that texture in there, as you can see, the lines disappeared. You get little bumps and ridges, but our faces are kind of bumpy, but this isn't quite smooth enough for me. I still got some smoothing to do. I'm not done. I'm still shaping. I still got the ear to do. I still got the ear low. I'm going to call it, what do we call this? Right in front of the ear hole, the duct, the ear duct. What the hell is it called? I forget what it's called, but this thing right here, right on the ear. But anyway, I still got some shaping to do. I got to add some more clay in here to smooth this out. The neckline, I have to bring the neckline up down in this area. But yeah, this is just a tutorial on how to smooth it out and how to texture it. You have to constantly work your tools to get the bumps, and you want to. And I find the biggest secret is taking a little flashlight with you and really hitting your sculpture with, different angles. Look up, look down. Take that flashlight and really splash the light on it to see where your bumps are and your where you want to smooth it out. And I have a down light that's really giving me a nice, perfect view of this here that has to be smoothed out, and I'm not going to do it because I'm actually not working on this tonight. I got other things I got to do tonight musically, but this is how you smooth it out once your sculpture's there, where you're finalized, where you're finally done and you're happy with how smooth it is, the way it looks on camera, the way it looks in the light. And you get it to that point, then you take your naphtha. I put like 2 coats on it, light coats with just a brush. Do not use your hand. Do not use rags with naphtha. I saw people doing that, and I'm like, that means you're touching wet naphtha on a rag. No, I don't touch naphtha. Use a brush. The brush actually helps too, because that helps smooth out the surface a little better. If it's a little bumpy, like if you got a little bit of a ridge from a scraper, from your tool, the naphtha can actually peel that off. It can actually brush it off. Yeah, that's how you smooth. This is the tutorial on how to smooth and texture your sculpture. And then you mold it. And then when you make your latex mask, that texture will be on your latex mask. And then when you paint it, the texture helps grab that paint. And if you don't have texture and it's too smooth, the paint kind of really just doesn't grab. And you don't want, like, I can see just tiny little brush marks from the last time I put some naphtha on here. I'm not looking for that. I don't want to see brush marks. I want to see a natural look to it. But that's how you smooth and texture wax-based clays. Some say oil-based. I don't believe it's not oil. It's wax. It's a wax-based clay. It's monster clay. That's how you smooth this clay. You do not use any other. You don't use water. You don't use, you just don't use any other. I mean, I guess you can. I don't know. I was always taught just use naphtha. Don't use anything else. It dries up. It doesn't hurt the. It doesn't hurt the wax. It doesn't permanently damage it or anything. Once it dries, it hardens right back up again. So stick to naphtha. Some states don't use it. I'll have to look into what else you can use. You can use probably charcoal fluid for barbecuing. Because naphtha and charcoal fluid are almost the same thing. There's a little bit more additives to the charcoal fluid. But look into that first. I have to look into that a little bit more. Don't take that advice without really researching that. But naphtha is one of the main ingredients in lighter fluid. But the reason why it's a very dangerous substance, and the proof is in the pudding. It's not allowed to be sold in some states. Some states you're forbidden to sell that. You're not allowed to buy that in some states. So believe me, heed the warning. Don't use your hands. Don't use rags. Don't even wear gloves and do it, because I think the gloves, the latex actually will soften and with the naphtha and just kind of go right through your latex masks or your latex gloves. The best thing to do is just use a brush. Don't use your hands. Use a brush. The only time I use naphtha is actually in the smoothing process anyway. So all other reasons are kind of pointless. It's only used for the smoothing part. And I gotta find that jar. I have a jar of naphtha floating around here somewhere, so I can stick my brushes in there and wash them. Look how dirty they are, man. Oh man, they're caked in there with clay from texturizing things. But no biggie. Like these are different ones. This one looks like a cobweb. It's good for like flesh. Once you soften your clay, like this is a really rough surface here, and this is a little bit rough. The black one's a little bit rougher than this one here, and then this one here. See, what I do with this is I'll put like the smooth one behind it like that, and I'll press it in different directions, and it'll give it a very cool look. So, all right, let me see if I can put this back together again. Yeah, it works. Roll it up, put it in my little sponge tube, and there you go. That's how you texture your monster clay the proper way. And the rougher you want this, say you're doing a really creature or monster, you're making it really rough like this, you might want to use a really rough texture. But texturing sponges are very important. You definitely want to invest in some of those. All right, that's it for me, DJ Styles, hanging out with you on a Sunday late afternoon, giving you little tips and tricks with the naphtha and how to texture your sculpture. So with that, everybody, I want to say peace. Have a great rest of the weekend. I guess it's Sunday night, so the weekend's pretty much done. But have a great week, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit the like, share the content. I love everybody equally. And I love showing what I'm learning. I'm learning as I go along with this. You guys have to understand. I don't. I'm not the inventor. I just like, okay, how I want to do something. How do I achieve it? And I'm a guy that will take chances. I'll take risks, and yes, I'll fail, but then I might learn something from it. So, honestly, I guess I'm awarded that luxury of being able to take a little bit more chances because this isn't my main source of income, and I'll experiment. I'll make sure that you know, this isn't even an income yet. I haven't even got all my masks put together yet, so it's. I'm going to do very little. I'm not going to do a ton of these. I'm aiming at the collectors, people that are serious about Michael Myers and love it, and feel that this mask is worthy enough, or the sculpture is worthy enough to own in their collection. And I'd be proud to have anybody have my stuff on their shelf. This ain't about money for me, never has been, never will be. I've always been an artist at heart. Just love doing my art, But anyway, this is where it's headed. This is where I'm at, and I haven't really worked on this over the weekend because I do other things on the weekends, and mostly I do this stuff during the weekdays, weeknights and stuff. So anyway, that's how to texture your sculpture. Peace, everybody. Subscribe, like, share. Thank you again. Have a great week. Sorry for the camera flying all over the place, but I was on a tripod. All right. Peace, everybody. I'll see you.